For those of you just tuning into my channel, my name is Corey, aka Blockchain. I am primarily an Elliott Wave trader, but I also use other trading strategies and indicators to help complement some of my technical analysis. Primarily focused around the crypto, and I am also a full-time trader and a member of the New Wave Traders Discord, where I actually have my own private channel where I post my chart setups and positions and thoughts on the market. Right now, we are starting off on blockchaintatrading.com. I highly encourage you guys to jump over and take a look if you have not already. You can scroll down a little bit, hit this little get in touch. I'll actually give you a free demonstration of our #1 trading strategy that is consistent, profitable, reliable, and yes, it is applicable to any market. On top of some blockchain gear here that I actually will be adding to here shortly. And then here's where you can actually join the Discord. Huge bonus is actually the 14-day trial for just $25, so you can get in and kind of take a look around and see what you like. And then my Masterclass is now live. It is on a launch price of $87. It will be going to $210 here shortly. And then if you are really looking to focus and learn Elliott Wave, I actually have it from the Crypto Hippo for $4.97 right here. And then any preferred vendors that I've personally used that I would suggest and recommend if you are looking for someone to get into. And then, of course, some testimonials down here on the bottom, and you're already on my YouTube. So definitely jump over there, check it out. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the charts. All right, so we are taking a look at Bitcoin here, and this is the current count that I have been ideally kind of just watching and following. I see this more as an overall corrective move as we are here on the 16-hour time frame here. What I'm looking at this as is just an overall correction up, and actually just a more of a complex correction forming a W, X, and then coming up now for the Y. What I'd like to do, let me actually scale this up a little bit. I don't want to make it exact, but there we go. I'll give a little bit better proportion on a scale. There we go. So you can see in regards from this 45 was drawing it from here. We did kind of peak back over it, and that's kind of where we're sitting right now. We'll look at a smaller time frame. But what I'm looking for is really this box right here, the 14.1 to 14.6. That is where I'm really kind of looking for Bitcoin to really kind of finish off and potentially have a rejection to move back here to the downside. We can ultimately go up to the 15.4, and let me show you what I'm looking at on some of these. So if you look at the weekly and take a look at the pivots, I'm going to turn these on. Right here on a weekly, we do have a resistance at that 14.6. We can ultimately go up. Right here is the next weekly of 18.7. I don't think we're there yet. I'm not really interested in that zone, but I am looking for that 14.6, which is right up here. And then I'm also going to go back to the 16-hour, and if this is a WXY, what I like to see here is, oops, wrong one. So that's kind of, this is where I'm looking at having that 15.4 come in at from a 1-to-1 extension. The weekly pivot, yeah, it's right there at the 14.6. 1-to-1 extension at that 15.4 mark. And let's go ahead and pull fibs from, when I'm looking at this as an ABC. So we have the 1.236 and 1.382 right here in this pocket, and the 1.618 also matches up with the one-to-one extension up there. And so let's get rid of this real quick so we can see what we're looking at a little bit better here. But yeah, ultimately looking for one more kick up. Looking at this overall as a fourth wave that we are kind of consolidating in to get one more kick up. And you can also see that the resistance on the 16-hour is right there, also at that 14.6. So this little pocket right here is really my main focus for this overall move to end, and then start looking for some potential correction back down to the downside. So that's kind of like my larger count for ultimately what I'm looking for. Looking at some of the oscillators here, you can see we did have a little bit of bounce on the top of the bullish control zone. So that's pretty standard. CB index kind of consolidating here in the middle, which is what we're looking for in regards to a fourth wave move. And then what I'd like to see for the RSI is to have another kick back down to the bottom of the bullish control zone, kind of like what we did here. Kick back down here and then lift up again, create that bearish divergence between the third and the fifth on this higher time frame here, and then ultimately kind of reset that back down to the downside. And what for downside targets, ultimately it kind of depends. I mean, it's an interesting time in regards for the election and COVID and all that kind of stuff here in the U.S. But say we went up to the top here at that 14.6. If we're super bullish, I would start looking at 10.4. Pretty standard would be right here in the 0.5 to 618. So anything from 7.8 to 9K. Look for a correction back down to. And then kind of, again, consolidate a little bit and then potentially kick off from there. So I think it all kind of depends in regards to what the election looks like, if we're going to have a contested election with this whole second thing of COVID. I know the UK is getting hit pretty hard as well. And then simply here on the 16-hour, quite easy to look at is just, this trend that we have, this trend line that we have going on right here as well. And pretty solid trend line down, pretty solid trend line up. The second we lose that, after one more kick up, then I'd probably like to see it come down and reset at least on top of the bearish control zone, right down here on the 45 mark, and then kind of go from there. So let's look at some of the smaller time frames and see what we're looking at here. Zoom in a little bit better. So overall, you can kind of see that this is a pretty solid, 5-wave move up here, looking to complete the third wave, and then reset again for the fourth. So we had a nice tag on the R2, and right here we are finding resistance again, which actually, let's check this guy out. Yeah. Okay, we have on 15-minute, we have that resistance as well. So, so I have this resistance right here as well, which we're have gotten rejected on. If this was the finish of the fifth wave of the overall third, and we do have this consolidation going on, this pretty clear to me is a 5-wave move down. I would look to have this tag the top. In regards to having this is just an ABC here in the middle. So something like boom, 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 come up, tag the R2 again at the price level on that guy. Boom, boom. So about 13.8, I'd like to see it come up and tag again, making this like an overall B wave. So this would basically be your A, B, and then down again for a C. And come back down to that 12.6 mark. And then potentially launch off again for completing the fourth wave, and then start look for targets around 14.1 to 14.6. Somewhere in there. This little box right here is ideally what I am looking for. If you scroll out a little bit and look at from a time. So if we had this guy here, actually, that matches up quite well. Something like that there. Bring this guy up. So it'll be looking roughly around the 12th to the 13th, 14th of November to get that last little kick up. And actually, let's go back to the 16-hour. There's something else I want to take a look at. Just curious to see. Let's do a fib channel. So overall, curious to see what it would line up at hitting these resistance points. Make those a little bit thinner. All right, so let's start looking at the smaller time frame again. And what do you know? That 14.6 puts us right back on top of the fib channel where we've had resistance. So that 14.6 puts us right back up there. The R2 that we're looking at, that's also at the top of the channel there. But yeah, that 14.6 is looking pretty sweet. It's just a matter of what does this correction land look like before we get up there. But ultimately looking for a move to kind of reset down. Like I said, that 12.6. Let's go ahead and see where that kind of puts us for a fib retracement. Looks like a 382 drop. So which is pretty standard for what you're looking for on the fourth wave. So the 12.6 ultimately is where I have the most interest in. I'm also looking for us to kind of get that one more kick back up to that 13.8 mark. So you kind of see we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we have one more little leg up to that 13.8. So let's look at the 15-minute. I don't really like that so much. But yeah, we do have some indicators resetting here. And I'm not a big fan of this necessarily being a 5-wave move. I mean, that's a little gross in there, but here you can clearly see we have an ABC that matches out quite well, another ABC, and then this guy, it had to be some type of leading diagonal on this for it to be a 1, 2. This is the third. Now we're going into the fourth, get one more kick up to that 13.8, and ultimately kick back down for what I'm looking for that ultimately that 12.6 mark, and that would be a sweet short down and a sweet long up. But ultimately, that's what I'm looking for, guys. Kind of a lot of shopping consolidation here in the middle, as you know, these corrections get kind of drawn out. However, staying on top of your strategies and risk management. I mean, these are, pretty significant moves still. There's still money to be had, however, still quite choppy. So make sure that you are protecting your capital. Check out my free strategy if you have not already. And of course, make sure you focus on your risk management. And let's get that crypto, boys. So hope to see you guys in the Discord. As always, if you like my content, make sure you smash the likes and hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you guys in the New Wave Traders.